Hello everyone, and this is Marcio Cardoso here with a viewpoint, political viewpoint on what just happened with the ending of our government shutdown. As you probably already know by now, the government about a day ago has reopened. There was a deal in, there is a deal in place to keep the government open from now until February 8th. And this video is just going to be about what I think about the deal to end the shutdown. And full disclosure, I'm pretty progressive in my viewpoints. I'm coming at it from a progressive angle. And what I have to say is I have one word to describe this agreement to end the shutdown, and that is cowardice. That's what I think. It's cowardice. Look, I understand why it's important to keep the government open. I get it. Military veterans were not getting paid, certain parks were being closed, certain government employees were being furloughed, and those are great reasons to bring the government back online. But as a progressive, I liked what the Democrats were doing in the Senate. They wanted to have a deal with DACA in place. And this was the main reason why this shutdown was there to begin with. DACA, which stands for Deferred Action for Child Arrivals, was a program instituted by President Obama through executive order to allow young people who came to this country illegally to stay. And you're thinking, well, they came here illegally. Well, they came because they came with their parents. And so their parents came illegally, crossing the border or maybe overstaying a visa. That's one thing, but the kids, they're coming with their parents. The kids have no control over the matter. They're coming with their parents, and they're coming at such a young age that the United States is really the only country that they know. And therefore, President Obama said, I'm going to institute DACA, and we're going to allow these young boys and girls to stay in this country, give them protection. And a lot of recipients of DACA are now young men and women, and they have lives in this country, and only lives in this country, and now they've had children of their own in this country, so their children are truly American citizens because they were born here. And I like that Democrats were saying, we want a deal on DACA, otherwise we're not going to move forward. But then, what happened? They caved. Chuck Schumer caved. Why? Why did he do that? I get that there was some fear among some moderate Democrats like Joe Manchin, Senator of West Virginia, Heidi Heitkamp, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Heidi Heitkamp, Senator from North Dakota, and they were afraid of, if we don't get a deal done, we might lose our seats, we might lose our elections. And these are conservative states. They supported Trump by big margins in the 2016 election. I get that. At the same time, I thought there was a principle that the Democrats were standing on. You know, the government being shut down, military veterans might not get paid, parks might be closed, employees might be furloughed. And I also get that the whole thing with CHIP and providing health care for young American children was being used as a negotiating tactic as well. But all those other things, they don't compare to the threat of deportation, in my opinion. I think the threat of being deported from the only country that you really know, because you came here so young, is worse than all those other things. And therefore, it was worth to keep the government shut down for as long as possible. They have this agreement only until February 8th, so it conveniently goes through the State of the Union, which is next week. But I still think that nothing's going to get done. Maybe in February 8th, when the government's near a shutdown, maybe they'll talk about a deal. Schumer was told that he was promised that they'll bring up immigration. The Senate will or the House will. But we've already heard members of the House, Republicans, saying that it's probably not going to happen. McConnell said it might happen, but there's no deal. Even President Trump the other day said, we're not going to go back with DACA. And now Schumer's countering by saying, well, now the wall funding is off the table. Okay, whatever. You know what? The thing with the wall, you already know that you're not going to get the wall in the border with Mexico. There's areas where there's rivers. There's areas where there's already a wall or a fence. And we want border security, and I do believe in border security, but where are you going to go with the wall? The point is, DACA was a huge fundamental issue that I thought Democrats were doing the right thing by standing on it, and now they've jumped off the plank. Without the protections of DACA, almost 1 million people could be deported like that. And all the major protections, of course, expire at the beginning of March. And I don't think we're going to get a deal by then. As a result, we could be having our own 21st century version of the Trail of Tears. Just a quick history lesson. Trail of Tears was in the early 1800s. President Andrew Jackson decided to grab a whole host of Native Americans from a whole litany of tribes from the southeast region of the United States, and he moved them out of the southeast to an area known as Indian Territory at the time. That's present-day Oklahoma. And he did that because the people that lived in the southeast, the white people, didn't want the natives there, even though the natives were already there. I mean, that's really messed up. This is not entirely the same thing, but it's pretty darn similar. We could be forcibly moving a whole bunch of people out of this country, just like Andrew Jackson moved all those people across the country. And if people say, oh, they're illegals, they came here when they were kids. They couldn't control the fact that they were being brought over to the United States. Their parents brought them over so they could live a better life. And now they're here, and this is the only country that they know. And for many of them, the only language they really can speak, English, because they came so young. They might be able to speak another language like Spanish or whatnot, but it's probably not as strong as their English. This is cowardice, as I said earlier in my video. This is cowardice. The Democrats, I believe, were cowards. They gave in. And it's unfortunate. Because of that, I think we're going to end up having our 21st century version of the Trail of Tears. And I know that brings tears to many eyes. Hopefully, things will be different come February 8th. Maybe Democrats will develop a backbone between now and then. I doubt it. Maybe with the hard deadline of DACA coming to an end in early March, there'll be some common sense among some Democrats and Republicans, moderate Republicans especially, who want to get something done. But what just happened the other day, about a day ago, tells me that I don't think anything's going to get done. And something tragically tells me that there's certain Democrats, not all, but certain Democrats who are just okay with DACA expiring because those Democrats live in areas where they don't have a lot of DACA recipients, or because they see DACA expiring and the potential for many people being deported as a political leverage, as, oh, see, look how barbaric the Republicans are, vote for us, instead of trying to do something now. Not every Democrat voted for the so-called compromise deal the other day. A lot of the presidential candidates, interestingly enough, wanted to still fight to ensure there was a deal on DACA. I know Kamala Harris, Kristen Gillibrand, and Bernie Sanders all said, no, this is no deal. They disagreed with Chuck Schumer, and they wanted to keep fighting for DACA. But ultimately, their voices fell on deaf ears. And because of that, we could be ending up with one of the biggest tragedies of the early 21st century. I hope I'm wrong. I hope something gets done. But sadly, I fear that's not going to be the case. I don't know how many of you remember your history. You're all taught about the Trail of Tears. I know this because, full disclosure, as you can probably see in the background, I am a social studies teacher. And I teach it every year. And I just see the parallels. And it's really sad. That's my viewpoint. What's yours? My advice is, if you watch this video and you like it, or even if you don't, upvote it, downvote it, share with other people, post your own video. Let people know what you think. Put it online, put it on YouTube like I'm doing right now, so you can get your viewpoints out there. The more people express themselves, the more the country, I think, has a better understanding where it's coming from. But sadly, I truly believe that most people don't even remember what the Trail of Tears is. And if you give them a brief history lesson on it, you start to realize, oh my God, this could be the same thing. In our own way, our own version of it. Because ultimately, we have cowards. Certain Democrats, Republicans. Hopefully things will change between now and February 8th. Or if not then, by March. But I doubt it. I think we're going to have our own version of the Trail of Tears in the next few months here. And that is a real big tragedy. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.